Yes, we are in the sanctuary of the United Methodist Church in Sugar Loaf, right in the center of the Hamlet. Methodism really got its roots right here. The earliest circuit riders were servicing the religious community here in Bellevale. Those Methodists were pioneers in the early 1800s and built a church here in 1809. And then in the early 1850s, 1852, they built the present church here in the Greek Revival Doric Temple architectural idiom. And this became really a landmark, not only for people in the immediate community, but for all over the county. The church has the ability to seat
approximately 200 people.
About 200 people. It still has services every week, thanks to Reverend Michael Berry, who I would like to pass on to.
We are blessed to be able to be the only church in Sugar Loaf, and to be able to be connected to the community the way we are, and certainly blessed by a vibrant group of people that show up. Of course, we'd always love more, but that is the church these days. And we're part of a cooperative parish that encompasses the very churches that early circuit rider would have served in this region. And the circuit riders would travel from church to bring communion in this region, this area. And often the Methodists, they called us crazy Methodists, they either met in a tavern or they had a church across the street from the tavern and or pub. Because in Old England, where Methodism began, every pub where the public met was met with across the street with a church, so that there could be this interaction, this push-pull between the public and the church folk, and they'd always be present. Because Wesley believed that you met the public where the public was. So here in Sugar Loaf, we have this beautiful inn across the street, this tavern, and the church here, and they could intersect from time to time.
They could.
And Dr. Hull would tell you, on a good hot summer day, they'd have the doors open, just so somebody might hear a word across the street.
Yes.
Which like we still like to do if the music's turned up loud enough or my mouth's running loud enough. Amen.
It's interesting that the majority of the congregation in the last 70 years at least were Methodists, but just a bare majority. There were people attracted to this church of Jewish ancestry, of Roman Catholic background, of Presbyterian. I was a Presbyterian. I wasn't a Methodist.
We won't hold that against you.
Thanks. And black as well as white people. I mean, it's always been, its doors have always been open, at least for a century. Well, the building architecturally is in quite a pristine state. The only changes really were the windows. These stained glass windows were installed in about 1919, and the money was raised within the church, and you can see the names of some of the prominent donors of these windows. And they are really, they're the only change that has really been made. The Doric columns are quite interesting. People from all over come to see this church because the way it was designed and built. The wood was supplied by local farmers from their own woodlands. And you can see a photograph here in the church of the attic, and you can see the timbers. And some of them are chestnut, some are cherry, some are oak, some are maple. And I had Nick Zungoli, our local photographer, take a picture of this. I mean, it really symbolizes a community effort. The fellowship hall was built in 1967. Again, that was a community effort, mainly of church members, but other people as well. But that led to a huge growth, a regrowth, a revival in the size of the congregation. Partly because the population was growing around here. Some subdivisions were being built by Mr. Maury and a few other prominent builders in Orange County. And many of the families had a large number of children. So the Sunday school just grew.
I like to say that the Methodist tent is quite big. You can express yourself
lots of room.
any which way we want or can in a way that fits under this blessed tent. And recently, some new legislation within the church has been opened up and freed us for a very wide expression of Methodism
for women
in the world,
and for the gay community,
all the above.
And
and so we're working hard to represent and to be present for all God's people.